Elizabeth Hora. I'm public archaeologist at the Utah State Historic Preservation Office. I've been an archaeologist professionally for 20 years, and I've been an archaeology nerd since about 6th grade. I don't know if a lot of students feel this way, but when the World Civilizations unit came up just in social studies class, I loved it so much, and I never stopped learning more about it. Eventually, I'd read everything in our local library about ancient Egypt, which was really what I was interested in. I had gone to the local museum and seen everything in the museum so many times that I started doing my own research on those things. I wrote to the library and said, yeah, you have this statue is noted from Mentuhotep. It's actually Mentuhotep II. Here's how I can tell based on where it was found. Total nerd stuff. So I eventually had the opportunity to go to Egypt as an archaeologist. I went as an undergrad for a field school, and before I left, I was flying out of LAX. I was, living in Southern California at the time. So flying out of LAX, and I went to my parents' house in San Diego to drop off my car, and my dad said, I'm so excited that you get this opportunity to do this. I think it's so cool that you're an archaeologist. And to show me how much he loved and supported my profession and what I was doing, he bought me a bullwhip, which was fun. We played with the bullwhip for 20, 30 minutes outside. I cut my feet up. And then I said, all right, well, so I'll just leave this in the garage then. And he said, oh no, that's for you. Because you're going to be an archaeologist and you're going to Egypt. You need a bullwhip. Because the man had seen too much TV and film, right? So sweet, but he had seen Indiana Jones too many times. He had this misconception of archaeologists and archaeology as being this swashbuckling adventure. And I'm not saying it's not an adventure, but what it really is the study of the human past, be it ancient or even just a few years ago. We use material things, physical objects, to understand patterns that humans inadvertently sometimes left behind. So patterns in human behavior. And we do that to study more about ourselves, who we are as a people, as a species. So one of the main things that archaeologists do is we go to archaeological sites. And an archaeological site can be, as small as a tiny trash scatter. Think of, 15 bottles that you find in the desert with some broken plates. Or something as large as one of the huge pueblos in Chaco Canyon with, dozens of great kivas. And when archaeologists went in there for the first time, they found, whole pots, just incredible things, grinding stones, jewelry, all this stuff. There's a huge range of what is archaeology. And both of these things mean about the same to us because they both give us information on what it is to be human. Human in different times and in different places, but it's still a part of the range of human experience. And so the way that we create this data from it is by recognizing patterns, by looking at every little artifact that might be on a site and seeing what their similarities, their differences are, seeing how spatially they're located across the site. And then we use models, like all scientists, to determine, well, what explanation fits the best? We apply the model onto the data we see and we say, how much does this deviate from the model? And the fun thing about humans is we deviate from the models a lot because humans aren't just stomachs on feet, right? We're not quite like deer that are running around the landscape doing very predictable things. Humans are wild and humans are unpredictable. And so that's where the art comes into it as well, right? And we get a lot of multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary scientists working with us because human behavior fits the model so much and then it gets weird. So we need other experts to come and help us understand. Obviously, I'm not working in Egypt. I work in Utah and I've worked in Western North America really for my entire professional career. And 90% of my professional career was looking at sites that maybe people wouldn't find that glamorous. Things that are essentially trash. So much of what people leave behind is their trash. Things that are important to them, they'll pick up and carry away. They'll take it with them. A lot of people will just leave behind their garbage. And so the truth about who we are is in our trash. That's where you're getting the unglossed, unvarnished truth. From your brand preferences, like your toothpaste, to how you got to school. Did you take a car? Maybe you have a gas receipt from that. Did you stop off at 7-Eleven for a drink on your way? Right? Now we can see your migratory patterns in your everyday life. There's so much data that we get from trash. And so it's so important to study these as an archaeologist because you get those patterns of human behavior in such a raw, unfiltered way. So yeah, my path was in cultural resource management, doing a lot of that, studying trash, studying the day-to-day stuff from people. Now I'm public archaeologist, and so I have an even bigger job. I try to tell the public what is archaeology, why it's important, and how we can protect it. And one of the fun things that I get to do is I get to do my own research. So one of the things I'm doing right now for my research is I'm looking at Fremont rock imagery. We're looking really closely at the human figures. We call them anthropomorphs, or anthros for short, but they're just human figures. So we're using about 500 individual anthropomorphs, and we're analyzing specifics about what it is that they're wearing, because when I went there, I saw data. And that data, we can use statistics to figure out what those patterns are and understand from the art who people were 1,000 years ago.